It's funny, I actually went to the same mission as my older brother. We were a year apart, so he got home and then a year later I left. And so we had one of the same mission presidents, and he was just like so excited to see me. He was like, "Oh, another Ents, like this is great. I love you, Elder Ents." And you know, I got there, and it's also funny. My trainer, I knew him before the mission. He was in a Spanish class of mine in junior high, and like I saw him in the room. And we played this little game where the new missionaries had to like guess which one was going to be their trainer. And so I'm standing there and I'm like, it can't be him. It just can't be him. And so like I point to a different missionary and my mission president's like, "Oh, this guy or that guy?" And the guy that I pointed to, I couldn't read his name tag. His last name was too long. I was just like, him, Elder Porter. And he's like, "You got it right. That's your trainer." And I was like, "What?" And it was crazy. Like, he didn't recognize me at first. I had to like remind him. He was like, "You look so familiar." And I was like, "Elder Porter, we had a Spanish class together in junior high." And he was like, "Whoa." That was crazy. Then we're like getting ready, and before I had told myself, like I had heard of Acapulco and like, you know, it's kind of dirty, it's a big city that like, you know, is kind of a little run down, and I was like, you know, of all places in my mission, I don't want to go to Acapulco. I told that to elders in my MTC district. I was like, I don't want to go to Acapulco. And like right after we get out of this meeting, Elder Porter's like, "Elder, guess what? We're going to Acapulco." And I was like, "Oh no." Oh no. So I got there. I just remember like the first day, like I was just so confused. We actually whitewashed. So like the missionaries that were there before left and we came in, and I was being trained, and my companion had only been in the mission for 6 months. And so we were kind of inexperienced. So the first day we just like, with what little time we had left of the day, we went outside and just tried to meet people and like get to know the area, figure out like where the members lived. And we found out that the members lived far away from where we lived, but we were close to the church. And I was just like, none of this was processing until the next day when we went to our lunch appointment that had been set up previously by the other missionaries. We went to a lunch appointment. Some member had a taco shop, and we went there, and after we ate the tacos, the member started talking to my companion, and that's when it set in like, oh my gosh, I don't understand a word she's saying. And like that's when I first started to feel like really insecure, because like in the MTC I felt like, yeah, I'm getting this pretty well, but in that first moment, like I almost started crying. I was like, what do I do? I don't understand any of this. Luckily though, my companion was loving, and you know, with the Spirit I kept going. Just like that first week was kind of a shock, you know. I feel like without that humbling experience, I would have been just like a really horrible missionary, just really prideful. But I feel like the Lord has to have his missionaries be humble, and that works really well when you realize like, I have to rely on the Spirit. I do feel like when I was that humble, and when I realized that, you know, I couldn't communicate all of my ideas, but I could communicate through the Spirit, that's when the Spirit came to me the most. And that's when I had some of the most powerful lessons, was when I relied on the Spirit and not on my own strength. So that's the beauty of the first little bit.